Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Largo podcast. Finley, you're back home, but not here in our beautiful studio that we have created. What's going on?
Mate, I've got to say, you've done an excellent job. You're looking very businessman-like sitting there with your black shirt and your black sort of down curtain behind you. You've done a very good job. I'm excited to come over and see it. But as many of the people who follow along on our Instagram know, I've been struck down with Corona 2.0. You made reference to me eating a bat. Not quite what happened, but I was trying extremely hard to not get barley belly. And in doing so, I was successful, mind you, but in doing so, I got probably the worst flu I've ever had. Not saying that it was linked in any way to me not trying to get barley belly, but I don't know, Zach, have you ever been to an Indonesian style, like traditional wedding?
No, I've seen them. They're pretty
Yeah.
big. They're not like our Western culture wedding. Well, some are big, obviously, but it's very fucking lots going on, lots of noises and sensory overload.
Yeah. So I was on probably day 2 of the worst illness of my life, and congrats to Sammy and Meg who tied the knot officially over there, and the newly married couple. We went to their wedding, and Bali, as everyone knows, we went on Bali. We're in Lombok, and not a cold country. And when you've got the flu, sitting in a breezeless area in like 30-degree heat with 100% humidity isn't the best. So I did that for about 6 hours, and then I got to sort of the end of the first part, and there was all sorts of drums and all that going on. I was going delusional, so I got out of there, and then the next day, the longest 6-hour plane ride anyone's ever been on. I had 3 t-shirts on, 3 pairs of socks. I had a blanket on, and I managed to got home. I worked the next day, and then I had today off. So, like I said, apologies to everyone that podcast is late. That is why, and that is why I'm not sat in the room with you right now. But the beauty of the internet means that we're able to do this still, and me not give you the next, I don't know, coronavirus, which is great.
Fair. There is a bit of it going around. My partner has been sick lately too, so I've been like fighting that off over this side. Then when you come home and I was like, you were saying you were sick, I was like, oh fuck, it's going to be coming at me at all angles. So thank you for your consideration. I am Debo that you're not here enjoying our brand new seats. Shift aside there, they're nice and white.
Yep.
I do have a confession though.
What?
They're not that comfortable.
What
We've spent money, as you can see. It's pretty much fucking the sun looking at me right now. It's that bright. We've got lights, we've got cameras. There's not much action here, but these chairs look really good. But I was building them; they were a flat pack, so there was lots of swear words involved, and I was just like, "Yes, can't wait to be able to sit on it." I sat on it and thoroughly underwhelmed. So don't rush to get here. It's not that good. It's kind of like a polished turd. Like it looks good on the outside, but it's not actually that good. But the studio itself is fantastic. Carpeted. We got furniture now, not wooden chairs. It's all happening.
What did we spend on those chairs?
They're Anko, so not much. $89 each, and the box. There was only 2 of them left in Pacific Fair. I had to go to Pacific Fair to grab them because everywhere else was out of stock, and then they wanted to charge us $40 for postage. Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
There was 2 of them left, and it looked like about 12 people had ripped open and had a look inside, and it was not open enough for me to to check the condition of the chairs. But like open enough to be like, someone's tampered with this for sure. So there was like, I had the receipt in immaculate condition because I was like, yeah, we're taking these back. But it was all kind of okay. And I haven't fallen on my ass yet. So I think we're going to be okay. But yeah, very, very nice space. I like what we've got to work with for the next foreseeable future here, Finley. I'm very impressed.
You know, they say that beauty is pain, and that might be just what we have to deal with at the moment. But it's a lot of action, a lot of events unfolding this week. So let's get directly into it.
Fuck me, mate. There's so much shit going on in the surfing world right now.
Yeah, we could be in for a long one here. So let's go straight into Raglan CT. Newly announced event. Zach, I've got a question for you on that later, but
Mm.
WSL sends the J-Bay champ over to Raglan to chop the head off the event that he loves so much and it was so good to him last year. But I guess the sweetener there is that it's going to be a left, which Connor is going to be exceptionally happy about.
Mm.
You've been calling this for a while. Are you happy now?
Yes, we called us. We had an episode, maybe 20 episodes ago, where we built our dream tour of locations, and I threw Raglan on there and Pavones. I think I just said you need a left where you don't take off and nearly die, like every single wave, being Chopu and Pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
You need something that a goofy footer can just actually have fun with and be playful on. And there was the argument that Trestles has a left, and it sure does, but it's almost like a detriment to go left there because the right is better 85% of the time. So it's not like a true left. So this is finally a zone where we can watch people go on their backhand that we rarely see go on their backhand. And we get to see people like Yago and Connor and now Ramsey Bookham to go left and play with it rather than fight for their life and fucking go to the end of the channel. More for it.
Yes.
But I don't think they flew Connor there to be like, we're taking the event away from you being J-Bay.
No.
I think they flew him there because he was goofy footer and it's only like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the reason. But I thought it was ironic that he was going to be the one to announce the axing of the event that we just won so recently. You might have seen on our Instagram, Luke Sederman. We're in his DMs this week. A lot of talk about who's going to be the wild card, and I assume for this event, they'll probably have some kind of trial system.
It's actually the winner of one of their local events, a New Zealand local event, King and Queen of the Point, I believe.
Okay.
So we need to get Lukey Boy into that to make sure he's actually eligible for a wild card.
Okay.
But I have a funny feeling there could be a guest appearance, whether he's invited or not, just on a boogie board or something. Just if you see a pink rashy coming out, I reckon it'd be him. He's like a streaker. He could be a streaker.
Well, and people might think like we're like mates with him or like we've met him. That was literally our first ever interaction with him ever. Like
That was a cold call. That's what they call it, cold call.
I was like, I didn't even ask you. I was like, this would be funny if he even responded to this. And I just sent him the DM and he came back to us with the answer was incredible. I was
super proud. I was super proud of you, Finley. You're branching out and you grabbed life by the balls and you took it. I'm proud and I'm glad that it paid off dividends for you.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thank you. We put it out to the listeners anyway for some questions. Generally, we leave a section for this at the end of the episode, but because there's like so many topics, we've kind of just dispersed them where it makes sense throughout this episode. Got a couple here relating to Rags. Benny Oborn, first one. Who benefits from the Raglan edition the most?
Fuck, anyone with their right foot forward, Finley. Me as a viewer, I benefit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got a half chub already thinking about it. Who benefits? Fuck, you'd have to think Yago or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think everyone benefits. Like it's a new style of wave that is added to a pretty old style tour. Like there hasn't been that many editions. There's been events come and go and come back, but there hasn't been that many editions that I can recall. There was G-Land not long ago that went horribly wrong. That was the worst ever. All the athletes just end up getting on the piss, which sounds fun actually. But I don't know. I feel like everyone wins this one. What do you think?
Mate, I agree to an extent with the goofy foot call, although, like say, we saw an all goofy foot final at J-Bay last year, so it doesn't always work that natural footers are going to go good at rights and goofy footers are going to go good at lefts. I do like the idea though of seeing goofs on their forehand in waves that are designed to be surfed high performance rather than airdrop into a 10-footer. And I also like the idea of seeing guys that we haven't really seen link turns together on their backhand before in the way of the natural footers on tour. So it's more of like, I know they can all do it, and it's not like a wave that brings about any anxiety or anything while you're watching it, but it's just like an interesting event to watch, and I'm all for it also. Kind of leads though to a question from Alan MR, which I thought was a really good one. Thoughts on regular footers surfing on a rippable left? Is it going to be the same standard as the goofies in terms of backhand?
I am going to go out on a limb here and say, although I'm very excited about this announcement, Raglan's going to be very tricky for crew on the backhand. The reason I say that, it's not super cuppy, powerful, which promotes really spicy backhand surfing because you can really put the board in the pocket, and there's a lot of push. I don't think, in my experience, I've surfed there twice, I think, and I've had it pretty fun. Indicators is pretty fun, but it like runs a bit. It's a bit tricky to slow down and actually play with it. And the first bay there, it's much slower and much more user friendly. But are we going to see barrels? Most certainly not. If you know what I mean, it's just not like it's not Macca's. It's not J-Bay, but a left. It's gonna be pretty rippable, yes, but is it gonna be super duper high performance? I'm not sure. I'm a little bit
Kind of like South Swell, Lennox Point. Is there any?
I think so. Yeah. Yep. It's fun. I think a perfect way to describe it is fun. Great place to go and have fun, but is it gonna be the most electric surfing ever? I don't think so.
No, unless you sort of make reference there to the natural footers like backhand. Unless you're Billy Stammen, who I've seen put down some really nice combos out there. He has that joint pretty dialed in. I'm kind of with you, but to be fair, like the question being, is the standard going to be the same as the goofs? I don't know, because you don't often get to see these guys. Like, I remember Rare Wader winning like an event in Sydney, and he was going left, and it kind of drew everyone's attention to how good his backhand is, and you don't often see it. I think there's going to be a few stories like that where guys kind of come out that it's almost just been hiding because they don't have the opportunity to showcase it. In terms of the actual core of the question, though, I don't think so, because I think the goofy footers on tour have to put so much time and effort into making sure their backhand is as good as it possibly can be, because they have to go right so often. And because of that, they're using it a lot more. With practice, you're going to get better. And I feel like there is, and I don't know if it's just like a visual thing, but like seems to be like a different styles between goofy footers and natural footers backhand surfing. I don't know what it is. I probably can't even put words to it, but I just always remember like sort of Ace Buckins, your Matty Wilco's, like those guys who just excel on their backhand because they've had to. And then, I don't know, because we haven't really had like this opportunity to see the natural footers go left in a comp. I guess you're gonna have to wait and see. But I do feel like goofy footers generally tend to be better at backhand surfing. Do you think there's any truth to that?
I think so. When you look at the caliber of the waves that they have on their backhand compared to the caliber of the waves, like putting snapper rocks against Raglan, you're not really fair comparisons, in my opinion. Like snapper rocks is so refined, it's like the king or queen of high performance surfing. It is so cuppy, it's so bowly, it runs so nicely, obviously when the conditions are right. Then look at J-Bay. It's another, powerhouse wave. And then look at Trestles even. Like, I just don't think we're seeing an almost identical left to right scenario. Yes, we added one like fun wave, for sure. Pretty and super keen on that. But when you got a lifetime of going to these world-class right-handers, you'd have to think there's an edge for a goofy footer on the back end rather than the natural footers come to Raglan and thinking they've got the same equal advantage, in my opinion. Unless they've just spent like 3 months at Macca's just absolutely fucking going crazy, or at Cloud Break or something pretty similar-ish. But again, when the swell bumps up, you're not even thinking about a turn. You're thinking
Yeah.
about the tube, which is not going to happen at Raglan.
And I could completely be talking out of my ass there as well, because I just cast my memory back not that long ago, and Crosby just did 3 of the biggest backhand turns I've ever seen in my life. So it's just, I think it's just a like a sort of frequency thing, and we haven't seen it. We haven't seen in sort of competition environment the natural footers have to put 4 or 5 really good solid backhand turns together to get a score. Whereas on the flip side with goofy footers, you're seeing that every few events. Like and that's kind of make reference to your Matty Wilkos and your Ace Buckins. They were always so precise. They kind of had it down to a fine art, like your Owen Wrights, those guys. Almost seems like a sort of choreographed thing where start the wave strong, finish it strong, get a decent score. And it was just a rinse and repeat recipe. Whereas, yeah, it's going to be completely new. It's cool. I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, it's not, like you said, it's not going to be like top to bottom, like a snapper or somewhere like that is, where they're going to be kind of sort of just going hell for leather the whole time. There's going to be a lot of waiting for sections. I find a lot of floating over foam, like whitewater balls and stuff, and waiting for the right time to hit the lip. But you never know. Like sometimes I oftentimes find that surfing fat waves can be easier on your backhand because you've got a little bit more pivot as well. You've got a little bit more back foot that you can put into your turns, rather than on your forehand. You tend to rely a lot on cutbacks and carving back into the foam. So sort of half a dozen of one, 6 of the other. It's going to be good regardless. So congrats to the Raglan crew for getting the event they've been calling for so long.
Yeah, we'll have to try and get some insights whether people are actually frothing or are they hating it. I'm not sure. Have you heard anything on your end? Like, is there any chatter?
Seems like Luke Sederman's pretty happy about it, and he seems to be the guy kind of, presenting like he's holding that joint down. So he's definitely put his time in the water out there, and he has his place, and he's frothing. I know when there was an event potentially going to happen at Lennox Point, there was a few key figures that were not happy about it, and that is how it went here. But when you've got a place where the locals are welcoming it, then I guess that's great. Like, more than happy to have an event there, So
yeah, it's very big for surfing New Zealand, so good on them, and keen to see it. I think to wrap up my point just before we move on is it's going to have moments where backhand surfing is going to really excel, but if I was to choose, if I could have a choice of having it on my forehand or backhand, I'd pick the forehand purely. You just have more bag of tricks for when the section's not there. I think that's where I was trying to go.
Yeah, sure. And then the final question from Raglan is from Bo Broadhurst. Are we going to Rags for the CT?
Yeah, why not? Bo, if you could book us a flight, preferably not Jetstar. I would like Qantas. I've actually got to tell you a story about a Qantas in a second. Yeah, why not? I'll come. Yeah, sure.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll be there.
Can I jump in on the Qantas thing while I was off the noggin?
Story.
Mate, hook, line, and sinker yesterday.
Yeah.
I am a Qantas Gold frequent flyer, right? That's no fucking look at me, I'm a wanker. None of that. But it's about to run out on February 1st, and I've one flight short for it to roll over to gold again. Sorry, it's going to go back to silver, and I'm like, fuck, like silver's worth nothing. Like you get 2 lounge passes a year, whatever. Gold's like you can walk in with a friend all year round as many times as you want.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, come on. Like I've got a flight to New Zealand actually in 2 weeks, but it runs out in a couple of days. And I was like, oh, well, what's my luck? Anyway, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to call them. Called them, got on my hands and knees, begged for an extra few status credits, got an email today. Boom. They did it.
Nice. So how far does the flight have to be?
It depends. It's not how far. It's like each sector is a different amount of points. So obviously like Ballina to Sydney's like 10 credits or something like that. Ballina to, Sydney to LA would be like 30, 40 credits. So like depends what type of flight, international, long haul, short haul, all that kind of stuff.
How many points did you need?
I needed 30. And so like a Ballina to Sydney run wasn't going to cop it. I was only going to get 20. But yes, big shout out to Qantas. They don't sponsor the pod, and I don't think they ever will, or listen for that fact. But thank you, Qantas. I'll be in
Yeah.
the lounge scabbing your food again for another year. Thank you.
And it sounds like you can bring a mate, so I'll be in there with him.
Yes, fantastic. Yes.
Beautiful. Let's move on to the biggest news out of today, which, as we record,
Fucking hell, Finley, I can't keep up with this fucking goatish alpaca man.
Yeah. So Wednesday, 28th of Jan, we're recording this. This happened this morning. John Florence defers his place on the tour for another year. Christopher Rickson jumped into our question box and wrote, CT level surfers should have more reverence for their spot on tour.
Agree.
How do you feel? You agree with that?
Yes. It needs to be some prestigiousness about obtaining a spot on tour when you've had feels like 10 people go, kinda. It's WSL's surely taking a credibility hit again here. Like you've seen these narratives year on year, like the qualification stories, like which we're seeing now through the Challenger Series. Like, oh, this guy needs to get this to win, and people love that shit. People love like who's gonna make it, and then you've just got the guys who bring the sport so many eyeballs and so much credibility. Just going, you know what? Like, although he has the best reason ever, who wouldn't want to do what he's doing? Someone has to take the hit, and it's WSL in this. No, it's not WSL. Maybe it is WSL. I don't know. It's just I don't think it's a net positive look for the business.
Yeah, no, it's a shame for everyone. Like apart from John, I guess everyone else suffers from this decision because as fans and viewers, we don't get to see John going back to his rivalry with Medina. Which I was extremely excited for. The WSL suffers, obviously, because there's eyeballs that are being taken away. Not that I think like heaps of people just will boycott the WSL now because John's not there. I still think people will watch, but just particular heats, like when you roll out at Chopes or at Pipe or something and John's in a heat, he has all eyeballs watching him. And yeah, it's just a shame for us, but sort of to play devil's advocate, Zane King asked, is John saving surfing in the bigger scheme of things by doing this?
Oh, well, in hindsight, without hindsight, I should say, it's difficult. What's he saving it from? We don't know. Look, his reason is remarkable. To go sailing around the world and surf waves that no one even knows exists with his family on a boat. Ugh, that's what dreams are made of, right? And he's got a business that is printing cash at the moment. It's doing so well. What's kind of... Do you blame him? It's like, fuck, man, go get it. But yeah, I guess it's left a little bit of a tread mark in the sand when he will go.
It's a tough one because how long do you hold someone's spot for them? Like, I mean,
I think in this case it should be the same as my uni degree, Finley. I deferred for 3 years, and then they told me, Zach, you are no longer coming to Griffith University. I said, okay, thank you.
So you think he can have 3 years off? Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, no. You can only do, I think he's done. In my opinion, I don't think John Florence is coming back. Right. I don't see the carrot being orange and fruitful enough for him to want to get off his boat. Because here's the thing, Finley. Here's my crystal ball. It's a big ocean out there, and there is a ton of shit that needs to be discovered and for him to explore. I don't see him doing that in a year. I think he's going to half scratch the itch, and he's going to learn more and more. It's going to be like it's just going to snowball. He's going to go, oh my God, like this is better than I thought. I'm going to go again. Like my parents travel on the road a fair bit, and they've done like all the states in Australia, and they're going, oh, we're going back to WA for another few months. And they're like, we've only scratched the surface in WA. So imagine him, he's going all around the Pacific, I'm guessing, and Indonesia and Asia on a boat. Like that takes, he looks like he's got that desire and curiosity that we may not see a photo of him for 6 months, and then I feel like he's going to look like he's been living in a cave for 9 years, and he's going to be loving. He's going to look like Barton Lynch, just beard, grey hair, not even recognizable to the general surf public, and he's going to be happy as a pig rolled in shit. That's my theories.
Like Tom Hanks in, is it Survivor? Where he's trapped on the island.
Yes. Yeah, he's talking to that coconut. Yeah, that could be, yeah. This could be the worst thing ever for him or the best thing ever. I'm not sure yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the best thing ever.
It's not Survivor, it's Castaway, but yeah,
Castaway.
I can definitely foresee that happening. He's already kind of got the weird, like, nerdy neckbeard thing going on, so it wouldn't take much for him to grow it back out. Let's sort of kick on from that, because the positive side of this is that Ramsey Bookham's going to get his spot back on tour, which I think is absolutely incredible. So happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one that's going to be probably pretty stoked with the addition of Raglan to the tour next year.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ramsey, they didn't have an injury wildcard because John and Gabby came back, right? And Gabby took the injury wildcard.
I think they gave them both to, those guys.
Yeah, so I guess Gabby took the injury wildcard, so there's no real change. But yeah, it sounds like, well, this year there's going to be 2 injury wildcards in theory.
Yeah. Well, I think they just have like WSL wildcards, and they can kind of just give them to whoever they want, or maybe they have like 1 injury, 1 WSL. But essentially, John and Gabby meant that coming back meant that Ramsey couldn't get his spot back, but now he's getting it. So amazing for him, and was such a shame when he fell off or like got injured, because he knew he wasn't going to be able to stay on tour, and probably knew in the back of his mind also that it was going to be quite difficult for him to get a wild card. So he'd be absolutely wrapped with that. And well, I just wanted to throw this in there. We've actually already had our first "the world title now means nothing" comment, which I find absolutely hilarious, because John wasn't there last year either, and Medina wasn't there. Medina's now coming back. Does this person just want the WSL to pack it up and just like, world titles don't count anymore because John's not there? Is that kind of what we're dealing with?
No, but Finley, cast our memory back again, maybe 20 episodes, where we said without John and Gabby, is there an asterisk on the world title? Now that that's been and said and done, and we know Yago is the world title, is the world champion.
Yeah,
I don't see any asterisks there, but someone still has a shitty case, might I add, but a case to make that, when you got the 2 of the semi-greatest names in the sport at this time. I know not all over, not talking about the whole period of surfing, but in the last 5 years, I'd say. When you take out those 2 big names, like, yeah, there is an argument that it's somewhat got a small asterisk next to it, in my opinion. Does it take it away from Yago? Do it? Definitely not.
No, I can kind of get around it for last year, and I don't believe I was fully sold on it for last year, but could see an argument for it where there's no John or Gabby. But for now, like, at what point do you stop? Like, do the world titles not count any longer because Tom Curran's not on tour? Like, they're gonna retire eventually. We can't just put the rest of the tour on hold for the rest of time because someone retired. The people, the changing of the guard happens. This might be one of those moments. If you're right and John doesn't come back, he enjoys sailing too much with his family and finding perfect waves, and sure, but like, we can't keep his belt on ice because he's not there anymore. You know what I mean? Someone's going to take his spot. I could kind of get behind it when you have like multiple world champions missing, but just to have one in John, like, sorry, I can't back that in.
Yeah, and further to your point, then actually, I've jumped over to your side of the fence. Actually, I'm very persuadable. There was time 2 years ago when John was injured. Like, everyone was on the season. Like, it was a full cast, and then he was injured, and there was no one going,
yeah,
John's out. The title's fucked. There's no point. Let's all go home. So I guess that in theory it's no different. I don't see anyone caring less whoever is crowned the world champion at the end of the year. I don't think there's going to be anyone saying it's not the real one, except for CJ. His was not real. That's the line in the sand. You can't stop halfway through and go, fuck, we're only halfway through and we'll give him a big trophy at the end of the year. CJ is the line.
Right. So anything above CJ is fine.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. We'll move on from John into just Stab in the Dark. I don't know if you've even had a chance to watch this yet, Zach. I watched it today, and I had a few little takeaways from it. I don't want to go into too much detail because A, I don't want to give it away, and B, we actually don't really know too much yet. If you haven't watched episode 2 yet, make sure you do because it's really good. Kind of keeping this going because we kind of touched on episode 1, and it would be rude not to just continue on for the entirety of this series. We're both quite invested in it at this point, so and it's really good watching. But my few takeaways from the episode that dropped today. So number 1, John Pizell looks like he needs attention on him at all times. Although he does have really good banter with DH. I think point number 2, I think I'm scared of Matt Biolis. Wearing black Ray-Ban aviator sunnies indoors at night time is intimidating. I've discovered through watching this. I love his boards, but I probably won't be ordering a quad off Darren Hanley. I will be drawing the line at my thruster. Nice sunnies, Zach, by the way. If you're not watching on YouTube, Zach just put his sunnies on.
Trying to intimidate you?
I won't be. Thank you, mate. I won't be getting a quad off DH because the one that Kelly rode in today's episode looked really bad. It looked okay. It looked decent as a thruster. He rode it as a quad and a thruster, and the quad looked horrific. And then like a car crash, like I wanted to look away, but my eyes were just glued to the screen. Zach, you wouldn't know this yet, and spoiler alert, if you don't want to if you want to watch it before you hear this, then maybe skip 30 seconds. But Darren went down. Take your ears out. You got to listen to this. They got Darren down to comment or to basically talk over him riding the board. He didn't know it was his board, and it was going like a busted ass. And it was it was great viewing, but it was also really kind of cringy, just going, no, can't believe they're making you do this right now. From this, that's all I'm going to say about the episode. It's great. Go and watch it. He also tested out the sharp eye, which did look better, but in my opinion, didn't look amazing either. So he rode it in sort of an onshore, beachy looking setup, doing step offs, and then rode it sort of lumpy, fat snapper. So not ideal board testing conditions, but the sharp eye did look better than the D. Taj_H8 on Instagram asked who we think will win. Me and Zach don't know. We don't know any inside info here. Complete guess. So if we get it right in the end, this is just luck. I'm gonna say none of the boards from today's episode win because they both didn't look great. I think I'm gonna say the Mayhem, and I have no real basis on this. The Ray-Ban aviators inside kind of did it for me. So I'm going to run with him. Zach, you don't really have to comment on that question because you haven't seen it yet, although you're welcome to a guess if you'd like.
I'm going to go with Britt Merrick. Sorry.
Yeah.
After episode 1, I gravitated more to him, and I loved Darren's wittiness and banter with the crew. He's a very likable character, and I obviously have a DHD where that goes absolutely fucking incredible. So I'd like for him to win too. But Britt, I don't know. I like his commentary and I like his demeanor. So purely based off that, I think Britt's going to win. And because it'd be a great moment because he says, I don't give a fuck if Slater likes my board or not. And I think that's going to be pretty OG mic drop kind of moment if he gets the win.
Be good for like an Instagram reel, right?
But the real winner is Stab. Like this whole series, I'm not going to lie, I don't think I've watched the last couple. maybe 5, maybe pretty well all of them. I don't think I maybe watched. I watched the Fanning one, and now I kind of get lost between East and this. I don't really know which one's which. This one I'm heavily invested in. I just haven't seen this episode that you're referring to now, but that first episode, like I was glued, and there was no surfing, and the first minute I was like, okay, like I wonder when the surfing's coming. 40 minutes in, I was like not wondering when the surfing was coming. I was never chasing that moment. I was fucking glued to the screen, just going, this is like watching a car crash unfold. This is amazing. And just the way that they package this up and just the honesty that bleeds through is fantastic. I think the winner is Stab.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll move on from there then. Now, last year, we started up a Facebook page intended for you guys listening to jump on during the events or throughout the season or basically whenever to air your opinions, your grievances, just any funny thoughts you had regarding the surf events or just surfing generally. And it basically allows people who are also in the community to respond, or you guys can have banter or whatever in the Facebook group. We kind of looked into a few different options, and Instagram's great, but it only allows like us to communicate with you guys, which like we always answer DMs and stuff, but it's kind of a way for us to just leave it there. Like me and Zach both enjoy talking shit with our mates during events and sort of what's been going on, like who won that heat or someone got ripped off or whatever. So we're kind of just providing a bit of a platform for you guys to jump in there. We'll be in there as well, responding to stuff. And like I said before, we just want to see like funny takes as well because we enjoy reading that stuff. So that's called the Late Afternoon Gas Off. It's on Facebook. If you type it in, it's just a community join. Just be friendly, please. We don't want to have any crazy stuff going on in there.
Nah, fuck it.
Jump in.
Cut everyone's throat. Let's go for it. Let's get the fucking boxing gloves out. Let's go.
Yeah, righto. You can deal with the claims then, Zach, the bullying claims afterwards.
Nah, that's all right. We've got lawyers for that shit, Finley.
We don't. But we will also be doing a fantasy league again. Details to be announced soon. You will be more than made aware of it. We've had a few people already messaging us going, when's the league code coming out? We will make it abundantly clear when that thing's available, and we'll be trying to fill that thing out with as many people as possible. So keep an eye on Instagram is mainly where it's going to be. We'll chuck it on there, and that'll go live, and we're pretty keen for a huge year of that. Now, let's move into a surf event, Zach, which we started off with World Juniors, which was sick, but this is kind of like, this is where we start getting into the real nitty gritty of it all. We've got the Pipe Challenger Series event coming up in mere days. How are you feeling about that?
It's looking good, my friend, looking good. And just going to put a little bit of a professional spin on this. I'm just frothing that Billabong's back into Pipeline, sponsoring the Changa. We've had a bit of a hiatus from the WSL for the last 2 years, so we're back, baby. We're in there. We'll be there. Well, I won't be there, but the US team will be in and around the surrounds. So, yeah, just thought I'd put that in there. But, man, how good. Challenger Series at Pipeline. It seems like everything is at Pipeline in 2025, 2026. We've got Dewey Backdoor Shootout. We've got a QS 1000 with CT surfers in it, which is fucking mayhem, if you ask me. We've got the big event at the end of the year, next year, going back to the last hurrah. And we've got a Challenger Series which proves who's got it and who won't have it for the big league. I really like it. I think we're on a winner.
Absolutely. Yeah, any event at Pipe, I will glue myself to and watch to its entirety. And this is no different. I'm very excited. As we try and do, we've got a bit of a forecast here. Every chance this is not right, but we're at least close enough to the event this time that we've got some idea of what's going to happen. Usually we're doing this like a week out or whatever. We're only a few days out, so I think this is going to be relatively accurate. So conditions looking challenging. There's going to be lots of swell throughout the event. dodgy winds though, so it could become tricky. They're going to have to find their windows where the wind's good and the swell's good. But I think given the amount of swell on hand, there should be enough moments throughout the window to have a few really entertaining competition days. Spoke to Mikey McDonough the other day. He's ordered a 6'8" and a 6'10", so could be getting serious. Zach, what size waves are you riding a 6'8" and a 6'10" in out there, do you reckon?
Well, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask. I do not like the feeling of a long surfboard. There's nothing worse than getting to the bottom of the wave and putting the stopwatch timer on from watching the nose go from pointing to the beach to the channel, and it takes half an hour. That's when you're fucked, especially there. I like a smaller, wider, thicker, almost like a slab board. So the volume's there that you can paddle in, but when you get to the bottom, you can knife it. But it really depends. Second reef, you want probably a big board, really big board, because it's that paddle in. It's the roll in takeoff is what I was going for. I find pipe scariest when it's 4 to 8 foot, because it's on the first bowl and it's just nosedive city. Like, it's fucking so hard. Whereas at least when it's a bit bigger, gives you a little bit more time. Like, it stands up for longer rather than just like a quick short out of deep water and blasting you on the reef. That's my opinion out there. And I wasn't saying I was charging. I was no hero big wave diver. But I found it slightly easier the bigger it gets.
Yeah, okay. Interesting call. Well, I'm guessing like Mike would have taken quite an array of surfboards over, and for him to have to order extras is telling me that it's going to be pretty serious, at least on some of the days. I think since he did that, the forecast has changed slightly, but there's still so much swell throughout the event. Like, there's every chance he might need to use one of those. For mine, looking at that forecast, looks like the first 2 days of the window are going to be onshore. Slight potential maybe for them to run on the first day, maybe get the locals round done, try and get through the draw a little bit, because there's like a round of 128 or something. I think it's sort of the winds are a little bit more light and variable that day, which they might get a few little barrels and it not be too blown out. The second day though looks no good. But day 3 and 4, so if you're in Australia, Sunday, Monday is looking really good. I dare say they're going to be definite run days at this stage. Solid, good swell direction, winds looking favourable. We're going to see some barrels, which is very exciting. And we'll go through just a list of who's in from the CT. So on the ladies' side, we've got Molly Picklum, Izzy Nichols, Betty Lou, Gabby Bryan, Luana Silva, Erin Brooks, Katie Simmers. So probably a fairly good chance that a lot of those are going to feature in the semi-finals. More on that later though. And then on the men's side of things, we got Barron, we got Leo, Griffin, Seth, Kanoa, and Cole. Interesting to note though, I had a look on the WSL like entries list. You can find them if you know where to look. And also entered in this event, who didn't get in was Crosby, Colapinto, Jiao Chianca, Jake Marshall, Al Cleland. I don't know why they didn't get in. Maybe it's a ranking thing. They go off like higher seeds take preference. But I think the entire men's Challenger series is happy that those additional guys didn't get in, because all 4 of those guys can do a fair bit of damage out pipe as well. So you add them into the mix, it's going to be a very challenging Challenger series event.
Can we explore the theory why there is even a 128 round? There's no other Challenger series, to my knowledge, that there is a round of 128 full of one nationality. Is anyone else scratching their head going, this is a little bit funky? Like, is this happening anywhere else? Like, I get it. We've had this conversation before. It's the mecca of surfing. Great. But like, does it get you a free fucking round? I don't think so. I maybe throw like 3 or 4 wild cards in there. Be like, oh yeah, we'll cop that. But an extra round is like, what? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to see this at Snapper Rocks, and Snapper Rocks is the most iconic wave in Australia. Equally hard to get a wave for different reasons. It's the crowd. Well, same reason, crowd, but obviously it's not as life-threatening. Like, does Snapper Rocks get their entire junior squad in there? extra round? Like, what are we? I just don't get it. I simply don't get it.
A listener did ask us this question also, and I didn't get an answer. I wasn't going to include it in it because I wasn't able to get an answer essentially. Although, yeah, I do think that it's just like if you're going to have an event here, like you're going to have another event at this break, like a government type thing. Like we need to have a round that's going to include some of the local Hawaiians in it. If that's what they've got to do to make it happen, then like sure, I'd rather them do that than them not have the event there, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it is a little bit unfair. Like if you're gonna have it just at this one particular event, like you realistically you should be having it at other venues too, because it's kind of gives them a bit of a not that they won't be counting points necessarily. Like it's not no one that's in this round is going to qualify for the tour, even if they win the event, because they're not going to get into the next event. So I guess it's more of like a prize money thing. They might earn a bit more because of this. But it doesn't give them any leg up in terms of qualification. It's just a bit of a weird setup that there's only one event on the whole schedule that allows this to happen.
Yeah, so let's just say Newcastle comes around. What's the answer why Newcastle can't have this? It opens the door to do you call it discrimination? I don't know. It's a pretty big word that probably doesn't need to be brought up at this level, but like what grounds does the Newcastle locals, Merriweather, not have that these guys have? Like, is it just because they're bigger and stronger? Yeah. I don't know. Like, they're pretty big and scary, but like, what is it? Like, what? I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, it could be best that, like, say, if we want to ever go and try and get waves in Hawaii, it might be best for us to leave this one as well, because I actually don't know what the answer is there. But yeah, it'd be good. Like we did a little bit of digging. If someone knows the answer, reach out because we're actually interested to know. Let's move into our picks. So Zach, ladies, dark horse, who have you got?
Oh, and Ewe Wong. Not even sure. Is she a dark horse for this event? She's at home. Very comfortable at pipe. I'd say she is because she's kind of new and exploding on the scene. But yeah, I've gone Ewe. I really enjoy her surfing. Hey, I think this is going to be a big year for her. So I'm kind of hoping she has a great result here.
Yeah, beautiful. I've gone back-to-back dark horse picks. Vahidi Mahana again. Obviously picked her dark horse at World Junior. She did pretty good there. People were kind of like, she's not a dark horse. I wasn't overly aware of her before that event. Turns out she's actually pretty bloody well known in the States and Hawaii, obviously. But this is a step up again for her going to the pipe event. I think she's going to be incredibly hard to beat at times throughout this event, especially if there's a lot of lefts coming through. She really looks like she has a crack. So I'm picking her as a dark horse, but this is kind of a level up from my dark horse pick last time. I think she's definitely not the favorite in this event, but she's gonna sort of scare a few of these higher seeded surfers, I believe. Mm-hmm. On the men's side, Zach, who have you got?
Throwback, and this is where I'm happy that the 128 round exists. And just to go back on that, from a Hawaiian perspective, if I was Hawaiian myself, I'd be fucking cheering. Like, I get it. Yeah. So don't bash me when I land in Oahu. I get it. You're fighting for your own people, which is very honourable. This is we're on the losing side on this one. Any hoozle. Josh Menez is going to come back, and he's probably one of the most. He's probably knows that reef as well as the greats out there, and his brother arguably as well. Just when I saw his name in the draw, I was like, fuck yeah, give it a good crack. So I reckon Josh Menez is the dark horse for the men's.
I mean, yeah. I can't really argue with you on that one. It's kind of like weird picking him as a dark horse because I'm pretty sure he's won this event as a QS before, but he's obviously been out of the scene for a little bit, and yeah, he's starting from the very first round, so he's gonna have to go for an awful lot to get to the final. Mine also seems like a bit of a cop out on the surface. I've gone Cali Vast. We've seen what he does at Chopes, just absolutely takes a piss out of that wave. But for me here, he's never really recorded a result at pipe that sort of warrants attention. I think he's probably underachieved there throughout his time in events there, and I think this year, if there's a bit of swell on the horizon, I think it could be one that he fully steps up. He's going to be on tour next year, so this is going to be an event that is going to feature heavily for him if he's going to be battling for world titles. He's going to have to do well at pipe, and I think this is a really good start for him in a Challenger Series against some of these guys that are already on tour, to sort of stamp his authority. So Cowley Vast is going to be my dark horse. Now we'll move on from that into our picks for. We're going to run with we're going to try and pick the semi-finalists again as we've done before. So in this event, there's going to be 8 semi-finalists in each division, men's and ladies, 2 4-man heats. So me and Zach have gone through. We're going to do 2 from the top half of the draw, 2 from the bottom half of the draw for each division, and then that'll give us our 8 semi-finalists, and then we're going to see who does best at the end, essentially. So on the ladies' side of things, I've gone Molly Picklum, Vahidi Mahana, Sierra Kerr, and Erin Brooks. Zach, who have you got?
I went Katie, Betty, Zoe McDougall, Ewe Wong.
Beautiful. So fair chance that that is such a stacked ladies sort of lineup there. Just noting that we didn't even pick Moana Jones, who's every chance to win this event for the 17th time. Yeah, look, Molly and Katie you'd say are shoo-ins to be in the final alongside Erin Brooks. Like you probably just chuck them straight in the final right now. I feel like they're going to be there, and then everyone else is going to be battling it out for like that last spot. On the men's side of things, though, I've gone Griffin, Cowley, Jacob Wilcox, Leo Fioravanti. Zach, what about yourself?
I went pretty Hawaiian affair on this. It makes sense to nod the Hawaiians here. They've spent so much more time out there, and it's so hard to get away with. So I've gone with Seth Barron, Josh Menez, Shion Crawford.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And like I said, it's similar. Like, it's such a stacked Challenger Series event to have all these guys, and I can see why. We've discussed this at length before. It's obviously not like fair from like the Challenger Series perspective. The guys is trying to qualify for their spot on tour, but it's also like you're gonna have to beat these guys eventually anyway. So like, beat them now and then qualify, and that's the best way to do it. So can see both sides of the argument there. Who do you think is going to win the event though?
Barron or Seth. Just their track record says that it statistically should. And I'm going to go with Seth, seeing that he got second to Slater when Slater should have qualified a few, when was that? A few years ago. Feels like an eternity ago. But yeah, I'm going to go Seth.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to go Griffin from my selection. So that's our picks for the men's, and then on the ladies' side of things, Zach, who are you going to run with?
I got Betty winning.
Betty, okay, all right. I'm going to go with Erin Brooks. I'm going to I death rode her pretty hard last year throughout events, and I'm probably going to continue to do so this year because I think she's that good. I think Erin's going to do really well here this year. So that's our selections for the event. We will probably, I don't know if the event will be done by the time we record next week, but when the event comes to its completion, we will jump back in here, go back over who we picked and see who did best. I don't know if we'll do like a point system for that, like how many people made the semis that we picked or whatever. We'll figure that out in the meantime. Before we go though, Sam Kaman jumped in our DMs. He had a question trifecta for us. They all relate to pipe, so I thought it'd be a good place to finish up. So his first question, 4-man heats all the way through the event. Do you think this makes it harder or easier to make a heat?
It would make it harder because you're fighting for a limited resource with 2 extra people, in theory. Is my maths correct there? Help me.
Yeah, I look at this question a little bit differently, Zach, and I reckon Adam Elling explained it really well one time. And I think if you're a better surfer, like if you're a Baron or someone like that, probably becomes a little bit annoying that you can't control the lineup as well as you'd like to. Inserting in there, though, that those guys are generally really good at finding waves under priority, so they generally don't have much of an issue anyway. But I think for guys that aren't as expected to do overly well there, they can kind of sneak through a few heats that maybe they wouldn't have if it was a man-on-man. But Melanie explained it like in a 4-man heat, especially in Hawaii, you have one guy that does really well and is killing it from the get-go. You leave them alone because they're too far in front. Hopefully that's you, but if it's not, then they're sweet. Like, they can win, that's cool. You only need to come second. You have one guy that has a shocker, like they're sucking, can't buy a wave. And then you have two guys in the middle that are like kind of battling it out for that final progressing spot. And he's like, you just got to be a little bit better than that other guy. So whatever the waves are like, you just got to basically beat the guy that's the guy that's having a shocker. Obviously, you want to beat him, but you just got to be better than the guy that's sort of in the heat with you. And that in my head, like, obviously it's just words at the end of the day, but it makes a lot of sense to me. You're going to just let the guy go who's killing it. Don't worry about the guy who's sucking. Just try and beat the guy that's just behind you. And that was a pretty cool way of explaining it, I thought. So I think it probably makes it easier if you're not a noted name in the event. You can kind of just break it down that way and just try and scrape through it in its second place. Now, with 6 CT guys and 7 CT women in the draw, how do the CT crew feel about potentially ruining someone's qualification hopes, Zach? That was his second question. What do you reckon their rebuttal to that is going to be?
I'm gonna guess on this one. I think I'm right. Sometimes the WSL wants CT athletes to do an event in their region because it brings, eyeballs to that event, and it brings that local element. So there's that to consider. Firstly, kind of like what you were saying before. Like, you got to, if you want to get to the tour, you got to beat them eventually. So the chance is now, and an optimistic way to look at it is you can start to learn their tactics and rub shoulders with the big dogs and see it that way, and kind of go, I'm going to milk this opportunity. I'm going to see how they react, see what their training's like, see what their event preparation's like, all that kind of things. Or you can be a bit of a Debbie Downer, which I understand why people would be, and see it that they're not accumulating points for that tour. They're just there to pretty well get a wave at pipe. Let's be honest. It's a free pass for an opportunity to get a wave when there's usually 70 to 100 people out. So I hate sitting on the fence. I'm going to say it's a good thing for spectating. So, and we're a spectator. So yeah. I say it's a good thing then.
Yeah. I reckon the CT crew probably don't care a lot because someone probably did it to them at some point, and they're probably like, look, I had to deal with this, you got to deal with it too. If you want to join me on tour, beat me. I think that's probably their attitude. Maybe there is a slight, like, couple minutes after the heat where they're like, oh, bugger, like, that guy's year just went down the plug hole because of me. But that would change very quickly into, all right, how do I make my next heat? So I don't think there's a whole lot of thought going into it. And then the final question was, so there's a big swell coming. How do we think the girls are going to go?
I think this year we're going to see a very spread group. We're going to see people like Molly, people like Betty, and a few others really grab it by the cojones and run with it. And we're going to see some athletes that I honestly think might not paddle out. If it's big and, like, if we're talking Mac and like 6 to 10 foot, absolutely pumping, glassy, like groomed faces, there could be a few no attempts, paddle out, sit there, bob, paddle over the set, go, fluff around. I think it's going to be a really vast spectrum of, like, the girls who really want it and some girls that just go, holy shit, I got here pretty quick. I'm not comfortable. And I don't think there's going to be much middle. I think it's going to be that and that, in my opinion.
I tend to agree. I feel like, though, this is going to be maybe not the first event where we see it, but I feel like there's a lot of girls in this draw, and it seems to be going that way as we progress through the years and the girls get better and better. I feel like we're going to have more and more competitive draws, and I feel like there's a lot of girls in this that actually want it. And you're right, there's going to be a lot that don't, and they're going to fall out of the draw early. But I think there's a lot in this draw that also want it. So I feel like there's going to be some really good heats going down, especially towards the later rounds. We've got one last little bit, which is a surfer of the week, and I've gone out and picked Isabella Nichols this week, Zach, for surfer of the week. We called last year for it, and she's been one that's actually gone out and done it, which is to go in the off season and practice bower riding. And I thought this is a good time to sort of interject this segment just based off the back of that last question. Izzy Nichols went over, I think, a couple of times to Indonesia, put herself out at Macaroni's and surfed a few of the waves around there, just basically training her backhand bower riding, which I think is really, really impressive from her to take initiative and go and sort of work on her trade in Indonesia in some serious waves. So she's done that. And then she's also, the reason surfer of the week for her is because she's entered this event, which is obviously going down the next couple of days. She's like kind of taken time out of her off season to go and do this event that she doesn't have to do. And it's a scary event, and there's swell coming, and she's flown herself over there and she's going to take part in it, which I think is also really, really commendable for her. So Izzy Nichols, surfer of the week. And that's just about all we've got for you this week, guys. So stay tuned for next week. We'll be back with probably like a mid-event wrap sort of thing, just talk about what's been going on. The way surfing's going at the moment, there's a new story developing every day, so there'll probably be 10 more things to talk about. But yeah, remember to chuck a like and subscribe and follow us on whatever you're listening on, and on Instagram at the Largo Podcast. Chuck us a follow. Zach set our very lofty goal of 25K by end of year, which I don't know just how achievable it's going to be, but we're going to try our best. We're on 8 or just a bit over 8 now. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, if you can, guys, chuck us a follow. And thanks, as always, for listening. We will see you next week.
Ciao.